All right. So today we're going to be looking at something a little different.
Okay.
We're going to be diving deep into the curriculum for Wales
Right.
and specifically how they're handling physics education.
Okay.
And anyone who's listened to the show knows that we've talked about the curriculum for Wales quite a bit, but we're really going to zoom in
Yeah.
and we're going to be looking specifically at their approach to forces and energy.
Yeah.
And
Gotcha.
you know why this is so important.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Because it's like you always hear it said that these are the fundamental
Right.
concepts of physics, and
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really interesting to see. We have some excerpts here from the actual official guidance.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Um,
So this is like the nitty gritty.
yeah, this is like what is actually going on in the classroom. So
Wow. That's exciting.
yeah, you ready to dive in?
Let's do it.
Okay, so the curriculum for Wales
Yeah.
has these 4 purposes
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
for their learners: ambitious and capable learners, enterprising and creative contributors,
Mm-hmm.
ethical informed citizens, and healthy, confident individuals.
I like it.
So I'm curious, like, how does understanding physics
Yeah.
and specifically forces and energy contribute to these goals?
Well, it's interesting because they take a very holistic approach, I think. You know,
Right.
if we look at it from a bigger picture,
Yeah.
they're trying to really develop well-rounded individuals.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
so it's not just about like, memorizing equations and,
Right.
passing a physics test. It's about how these concepts can be applied in everyday life.
Okay.
And I think that that's a really, refreshing way to look at it because,
Okay.
I mean, think about it, right? Like understanding forces and energy.
Yeah.
It's like having a master key to unlock how the world works.
Yeah. Like it explains everything.
It explains everything.
Like from the smallest particle to the largest star.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it empowers you to really analyze situations, predict outcomes, and design solutions.
So like a practical application of that would be, let's say you wanted to design a wind turbine.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Understanding forces and energy would be crucial.
Absolutely. It's like if you think about,
Yeah.
you need to understand how the wind is going to interact with the blades,
Right.
how to maximize energy capture, how to make sure that the structure is strong enough to withstand those forces.
Right. And all of those things
Right.
really come down to those fundamental forces and energy.
And I think, even beyond the practical applications like building a wind turbine,
Yeah.
it's about, just being able to engage with the world
Okay.
in a more meaningful way.
So it sounds like you're saying that it goes beyond just the science.
Absolutely.
It like bleeds into.
It's about, like you said, those 4 purposes of the curriculum.
Yeah. Yeah.
It-
Kind of
it's-
hits all of them.
It hits all of them because it's about being an informed citizen.
Yeah.
It's about, being able to critically analyze information.
So this is where the statement of what matters 5 comes in.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
So that's the one that focuses on the sciences, and it really emphasizes that understanding forces and energy
Right.
is fundamental to scientific literacy, and it explicitly states that.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's so central to the curriculum, because it's seen as like a foundational piece
Okay.
upon which you can build everything else.
So by emphasizing these concepts, the curriculum is essentially equipping students
Yes.
to become informed citizens.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so they can...
Engage in these issues like climate change.
Yes, exactly. If you don't understand how energy works,
Right.
if you don't understand the forces at play in the environment,
Yeah.
then how can you possibly make informed decisions?
And not only make informed decisions, but, solve these really complex problems that we're facing.
Exactly. And come up with new solutions
Yes.
for
Yeah.
the future. And I think that's where the real power of this curriculum lies.
Absolutely. And it goes even beyond that.
Right.
Remember we talked about the statement of what matters one?
Oh, yeah.
That emphasizes developing curious, lifelong learners.
Yeah.
And this is where I think it gets really exciting because
Okay.
it's about fostering that natural curiosity that we all have
Right.
as children.
I want to know why.
Exactly that. Why?
Yeah.
You know?
And I just feel like sometimes that gets like,
Yeah.
beaten out of us.
It does. It does. I mean, traditional education systems sometimes can focus so much on like rote memorization and,
Yeah.
just getting the right answer on the test
Yeah.
that they forget about like the joy of discovery
Yeah.
and the excitement of figuring things out
Yeah.
for yourself.
So like in a classroom setting, how would this actually like manifest?
Well, so the curriculum really encourages teachers to
Definitely.
create learning environments where students can ask questions, where they can challenge assumptions,
Hmm.
and where they can develop their own models to understand complex phenomena.
So like a more hands-on approach.
Exactly. Yeah. More hands-on, more inquiry-based learning.
So they're not just, reading a textbook and regurgitating information.
Right. Exactly. It's about giving them the tools and the freedom
Yeah.
to
You
explore,
like tinker and experiment.
to tinker, to experiment, to debate their findings with each other.
So it seems like what they're doing is setting the stage for like
Yes,
real innovation, not just, memorization.
exactly. Because, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
the world needs people who can think critically, who
Right.
can solve problems,
It's not just people who can,
not just people who can remember facts and figures.
yeah, take a test.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, so let's talk about like the actual structure of the curriculum.
Okay.
So, it's one thing to have these like lofty goals.
Right.
But how do they actually ensure that students are like progressing,
Yeah.
building their knowledge over time?
So that's where the principles of progression come in.
Okay.
You can think of them as like guideposts
Okay.
that outline how understanding should deepen
Okay.
over time. So it's not just like, here's all the information at once.
Right.
It's like, in the early years, you're focusing on like basic concepts,
Yeah.
like push and pull.
Yeah.
And then as you get older,
Yeah.
you start to explore more complex ideas like gravity and friction.
And then like how those things
Yeah,
interact.
and how they interact with each other and how they affect the world around us.
Okay. And then to make sure that everyone's like on the same page,
Yeah.
they also have these descriptions of learning.
Yes, exactly. So those descriptions of learning provide a framework for teachers
Okay.
to assess understanding
Okay.
and to tailor their instruction to meet individual needs.
So it's not just like a one-size-fits-all approach.
Right. It's
Oh.
it's recognizing that students learn at different paces and in different ways.
Okay, so it's interesting because, we've talked before about some of the other aspects of the curriculum for Wales,
Mm-hmm.
but it's really interesting to see how much thought has gone into like this particular area,
Yeah.
the forces and energy.
It really is. And I think it speaks to the importance that they're placing on scientific literacy and, the belief that these concepts are essential
Yeah.
for everyone to understand, not just, future scientists and engineers,
Right.
but for everyone.
So, we could keep going on and on about this.
Oh, absolutely.
There's so much more to explore.
There's so much in here. And, but I think that we've hit on
Yeah.
a lot of the key points.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to mention, though, is that they also have this section on
Okay.
specific considerations for schools to think about as they're implementing the curriculum.
Right, and those are really interesting because they get into like the practicalities of,
How do you actually create these engaging learning environments? How do
Yeah.
you assess student understanding in a way that's meaningful?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I encourage you to check those out.
Yeah, we'll be sure to link to that in the show notes.
Yes, definitely.
But yeah, so just to kind of like wrap things up,
You okay?
it's clear that the curriculum for Wales is really aiming to,
Yeah.
cultivate this generation of
Yes.
engaged, informed citizens
Yes.
equipped to understand and address
Yeah.
these really complex challenges.
Yeah.
And I think particularly through the lens of physics.
Absolutely. And it's a very forward-thinking approach, I
Yeah.
think, recognizing the power of scientific literacy
Yeah.
in shaping the future.
And it makes me wonder, how might this focus on forces and energy
Yeah,
influence the future careers and innovations that emerge from Wales?
that's a great question.
I mean, what could you do
Yeah.
with this really deep understanding of these concepts?
I mean, the possibilities are endless, right?
Yeah.
Because once you understand those fundamental principles, you can apply them to any field.
So who knows what's going to come out of this? But I think it's really exciting.
It is very exciting.
And I encourage you to check out the source material.
Yes, definitely.
Think about these questions and let us know what you think.
Yeah, let us know.
All right. That's it for this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you next time.
See you later.